In the previous session, we understood how can we fetch the data and how can we update the data. So in this session, we'll understand how can we fetch the data based on a custom query. Right. So directly I'll enter into the program so that it will be easy to understand and as well as explain. So let me create a class fetch employee. So I want to fetch all employees. So already we are fetching one employee based on ID. So based on ID means we can just call find method and employee dot class, the whatever the entity class you need to fetch, that class we are going to give, and the what ID we are going to provide. Okay, so based on that it will take, so it will fetch and it will provide you the employee object and we can print the data. Okay, so next is nothing but we need to fetch all employees. So I need to fetch all the employees. So what I will do, so as usual I'll be using entity manager factory and entity manager. We will be writing the custom query. Here there is no method for fetching all the details of an employee. So what we will do, we will be writing a query called HQL queries. Okay, so and there is one more thing is also there, JPQL queries. So this HQL queries means Hibernate Query Language and JPQL query is nothing but Java Persistent Query Language. As of now, I am not using this. So we will be using HQL queries. We will be using JPQL queries once we entered into the Spring Boot concept and all. And how can we write the HQL queries? First of all, let me write here HQL query means Hibernate Query Language. Okay, this Hibernate Query Language is very similar to SQL programming language. So whatever the SQL query you are writing, so that SQL query we can convert it into an HQL query here. So majorly we will use these HQL queries for fetching the data. Okay, so always we will use for fetching the data. Can we update and delete the data using this HQL queries? Means of course we can update, but it's not that possible for deleting the data. But this is most preferable for fetching the data. But we can either update and as well as delete the data also. But preferable is fetching the data. So let me write one SQL query first. So I need to fetch all the data. So what is the query here? We know that select star from. So I need to fetch from employees. So employee table. Okay. So this is the query. And what is the difference between SQL and HQL? First we need to understand here. So if you say SQL, directly it will be related with the databases. Rows and columns we will be using in the SQL. But when it comes to HQL, we will be using the objects and its states. One object is a one row here and one state is nothing but one row value. Sorry. Yeah, one row value it will be. Okay. And when it comes to HQL, we will always use for associations and all means mapping purpose, mapping of objects we will be using here. But when it comes to here, we will be connect two tables with the help of foreign keys here. These are the some of the differences between HQL as well as SQL here. And so in SQL, we have used as select star from employee. But when it comes to the HQL query, it will be like select instead of star, there is no star in HQL. We will be using an alias. Okay, you can give any alphabet here. Actually, we can give the alias as a some name also, but majorly preferable is some character. So employee starts with E. I am taking it as a E. Okay, this is the standard, but it's your wish. You can take any letter here. And once you fix that alias, you have to use this alias through entire query. Okay, so now I am fixing it as a E. Okay, select E from, so employee, same as usual, employee. And whenever you are using the table name, That is, when it comes to here, the object name, you have to use one alias here. Okay, this is the syntax of an HQL query we have to follow. In future, if you see JPQL, JPQL is also in the same format. Okay, some small difference is there with HQL and JPQL that we will discuss in future. Okay, if you understand HQL, JPQL is very, very easier. Okay, so remember, whenever you are using the object name, you have to give the alias name. So persistence. So I need an entity manager factory. So let me create an entity manager factory with the name Karthik, and entity manager factory is created. Entity manager factory dot create entity manager. So do I require here entity transaction? No. Why? Because I'm just fetching the data. I'm not modifying any data here. Okay, entity manager dot. So there is a method called create query method. The create query method which will accept the HQL query, and internally it will convert it into a SQL query with the help of JDBC API. So these are all taken care by this create query method. And for the create query, we need to pass the HQL query. So what it will return? It will return a query type object. What is the use of that query type object? That query type object contains the result of the data here, whatever the query is there. So now I need to fetch all the employees. So let me write it as select E from employee E. So I'll be assigning it to a query type object. So now what I will do, query dot. So I have first let me explain this once again. Create query, what it will do, it will take the HQL query. If you pass SQL query, it will never work because it accepts only the HQL query. So what it will do, it will accept the HQL query, and internally it will give this query to the persistence API. Persistence API with the it is going to convert based on the dialect you have given in the persistence file, and it will convert this HQL query into an SQL query, and it will give to JDBC API. JDBC API, what it will do? It will perform the query, and the result will be stored inside this query object. To fetch the result, there is a method called getResultList. So what this method will do, whatever the result is there, that is, however, we are going to get the objects. Okay, so here I am having the data here. So some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, some 7 datas are there. Right, I need to fetch all these data. So what I will do here, when I given get result list, it will consider each row as an each object. Okay, so here 7 rows are there, 7 objects will be created, and it will be stored in a list, and that list it is going to be returning here. Okay, so that result list it is going to give. So here there is a warning that we didn't mention the generic, so that's why. But we know that what it contains, this list contains the list of employee objects. So we can add it. So it's just a warning. If you want, you can write, or you can just ignore it, because we know that it is having employee here. Okay, so then what I will do, I need to print this data. So instead of using for each, I'll be using stream here for each. So let me print. So let me refer to a method called system.out println method. So whatever the object is there, so each data we are printing. So from the list, each and every data I'll be taking, and I'll be printing. So toString method has been overridden, so that we will be getting all the data here. Okay, so let us run this. If you observe here, we got employee ID 1, name Java Macha and age. Employee 2, so all the data, whatever the data is there, all the data we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 data are there. This is how we can write the custom query.